and welcome back to the Sword of Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series, Bonded, with craft brew on the side. I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate, and on this episode, we are escaping into Chapter 8 of Blood of the Fold. No, escaping would not be into. Out of. We are getting out of Chapter 8.
You can escape into something.
That
like,
just makes us sound lazy.
Into a forest. Like, you know, like...
Okay. I see where you're coming from.
And you know what, Nate? Right now, me and you need to escape to somewhere because we're trapped.
Yeah, we are.
Nate and I and our family are currently in quarantine because we have a exposure situation, so we are stuck home for the indefinite future, and so we're with you guys. How you doing?
So you're gonna get a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
At least one a day, I think, so far we've been doing. Close to it.
Anyways, Blood of the Fold, Chapter 8. Here we go.
That's right. So, Richard decides right away that escaping from these two giant-ass Daharans is better than fighting them. Probably smart.
Yeah.
If you don't have to get your ass beat today, let's not get our ass beat today.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him at all for trying to duck and roll away from these guys, especially because he doesn't know where he's going to. Like, they're dragging him to a mysterious alleyway with 4 people.
Right. And they're Daharans. He knows what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So, when they turn into this little alleyway, he tucks, he rolls, he ninjas his way out of there, and then he fucking disappears. And when I say he disappears, I mean he puts on his invisibility cloak.
Yep.
Mriz with cape. It's a Mriz with cape.
Yep, and just blends right into the fucking wall.
He sees that the people he's been brought to are in cloaks. But underneath them, they're wearing brown Mord Sith outfits. He recognizes the symbol on the stomach of the outfit, and it completely, throws a wrench into his engine. Man, he's completely thrown off. He thought he was done with these people. Plus, it's terrifying, you know?
Yeah, nice healthy dose of PTSD, I'm assuming.
But he hears Kara say, Lord Rawl, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm in charge. Hey, I'm not gonna die. These people work for me. Fuck yeah. And he lets his guard down. When he lets his guard down, he becomes visible.
Yeah.
Which blows everybody away, because they're like, it's magic.
Yeah, well, yeah, they haven't seen anybody do that before.
But just as Richard is starting to relax, he's thrown off again, because Gratch bursts in at that moment, and he's ready to attack the Mord Sith.
Yeah, Gratch had his fucking back, man.
Richard jumps between Gratch and the others, trying to protect them. Kara says they are too. So, hey, same team, calm down. Richard's gotta, tell Gratch to just chill out. You're cool. We're all friends. Smell his butt. Do whatever it is you gotta do.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're all cool here. Nobody needs to shoot nobody. I mean, scratch them to pieces or anything.
Richard had actually planned for this. He had told Gratch beforehand to keep an eye on him and stay out of sight unless there was danger. And as it turns out, he had done a damn good job. He was like, just stay airborne, by the way, for some indefinite amount of time, or just hop from rooftop to rooftop like Batman, following me around the city.
Yeah, but apparently he did a good job.
He's really fucking good at it.
Yeah, Richard didn't even see him at all. He didn't realize, he knew he was there, but he didn't see him.
Which, I mean, yeah, you might feel like something was tailing you then if you knew for a fact something was actually tailing you.
Right.
These people were too, but yeah, there's no doubt that Richard felt the way he did. He knew there was something back there.
Yeah, he never acknowledged that thought in his brain either.
And him being a woods guide like he is, you know he was going to be tough on Gratch.
Oh, yeah.
If he saw him, he wouldn't just let it go. He'd be like, yeah, I did see you, so technically fail. We'll work on it.
Well, and to be fair, I wouldn't blame him, because if Gratch gets seen in the city, I'm sure that he's going to be, hunted.
Oh, yeah. There's nowhere for him to go. I mean, he could fly away, but Gars are not welcome in town, sounds like.
That would be terrifying to everybody. Yeah. So, stay out of sight for your own safety.
Once everyone is calmed down, Richard asks what's going on, and Kara says, look, we are here to protect you. You look and Egan had to get him away from the fold without bloodshed, and that wouldn't have happened if they all knew the two Daharans were trying to rescue him.
Yeah, they had to be stealthy with that shit. They couldn't go in there and be like, oh, hey, don't hurt him, he's our friend, because then they probably would have killed him, so they had to be tough.
It's kind of like Django Unchained in a way, where they go in and they're like, okay, we're here to get your wife, but if we go in and say, hey, we're here for your wife, they'll get wise, or they could say no, so they come up with this elaborate scheme to get the wife out. But at the end of the movie, they're like, they should have just asked.
Yeah.
It would have been so much easier. Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah.
Because the Daharans are there, and they are in charge of that town. The Blood of the Fold are there, but they're an ally, so they might not be able to do anything against the Blood of the Fold. Or who's higher up in the ranks here? Daharans or the Blood of the Fold?
I think Daharans, because they are enforcing shit in the city.
Okay.
But if you pissed off one of the allies or dignitaries, I would think that there would be a problem. Yeah, I think it would be a problem.
Might be bigger than just pissing that guy off. Then that country might say, okay, well, screw you guys or whatever.
Right. Besides the fact that we now know that these Daharans are not necessarily connected to the rest of the Daharans, so, I mean, they couldn't lean on the rest of the squad in the city, because they were just trying to get Richard out, like, themselves. So, if it became a bigger thing, other people would have been like, why? Nah, let's kill him.
Well, obviously that's the move.
Yeah.
And the reason that they are here to protect Richard is this. They are there to be the steel against steel, so Richard can be the magic against magic. We've heard this before. He's supposed to do the voodoo, and they're supposed to do pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
In very, very layman's terms.
Yeah. He's not supposed to be fighting the battles, like, hand to hand. He's supposed to be shooting the lightning from behind.
You're the lightning atop the mountain guy.
Yes.
You're not the dude bashing orc skulls in guy.
They don't know Richard, though.
That's us. We have these guys for that, man.
Richard's like, I'm the steel and the magic, bitch.
Look at your big brain self. Get up there in that castle, you scamp.
But Kara leads them all out of the alley and into a small room with their shit. Kara introduces the other Mord Sith. I have an issue with this, actually, because Hallie is how it's spelled in the book.
Is this how it's spelled in the book?
Yeah, Hally, like in the type. If you look at where it's written, it's like that. But the guy in the Audible says Haley, and I don't think that's how it's spelled.
I'll have to look myself, because I hadn't looked at it. But if it's spelled the way that you have it spelled here, that's Hallie all day long.
Yeah, man. That's what I thought.
Or, you know what? I could even go so far as to say could be Holly.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I know Holly kind of seems like Holly. Traditionally, it's spelled that way. But we have a hall in our house, and we walk down it, and it's spelled the same way. So Holly, I could see that too.
Well, yeah, when he said it, I was like, I don't remember any Mord Sith named Haley. Like, who the fuck is he talking about? That seems like a very, like, I don't know.
You know, that one bitch.
Name? Yeah, yeah, Haley. That fucking bitch. But
I'm sorry to any Haleys who are listening.
Yeah, we love you. We're just...
You're cool.
You know.
This one is just spelled differently, that's all.
Yeah, once I looked in the book, I was like, oh, that's because I don't remember her, because that wasn't her fucking name. But anyways, the other two are named Berdine and Reyna, who I love and I remember a whole bunch, and I'm super excited that they're here. The rest of the Mord Sith stayed at the palace in case Richard came back before they found him, but Trimac wanted Ulick and Egan, the big motherfuckers, to go with the Mord Sith to find him.
As you would. You're gonna go do some super stealthy shit to go recover the Lord Rawl. You may die in the process. I want the biggest friend I can take with me. Hands down, every time.
Yeah, plus you're like the personal guards, so like, what are you doing? You don't have a job until you find him.
Your job is literally over here. Come do your job.
Yeah.
They chose the room that they're in because it's close to the Daharan headquarters, which happens to be right where Richard was going.
Wow.
So they're staked out in the city. They've been ready for this.
Yeah.
Richard asks how they found him, and they have a whole conversation about the bond. He explains that he doesn't get it at all. And they tell him, I love this too. He's like, hey, explain this thing to me. I don't have a lot of time, kind of busy, so give me the highlights.
Of this super important sacred thing to your people.
Yeah, and then was it Ulick who's like, come sit down over here with me. I'll teach you the way that we were taught. And Richard's like, whoa, no. Highlights, bud. Top moments of the game and no more. We gotta go.
But then, as Ulick proceeds to try and give him the highlights, Richard proceeds to interrupt every other fucking line to clarify some point or another. And I'm like, dude, just let him talk.
Thousands of years ago. How long? I don't know, like a little while ago. Okay. Thousands of years ago, King so-and-so. Oh, what was his middle name? It's just every opportunity he stops to ask more questions. After he asks him to hurry.
He did this to protect us. Oh, you mean rule us? No, I mean protect us. Listen to my story. Can I talk?
I'm trying to tell you something. And then it's like, it's even more because this is this guy's new boss.
Yeah.
So he wants to impress him. He's like, hey, I have all this knowledge you need right now, so I'm being very valuable to the new king guy, but he keeps fucking up my story.
Yeah.
This is what I've been waiting for. Crushing skulls and telling stories. Come here, Lord Rawl. Come sit on my lap, buddy.
Listen up.
Thousands of years ago, the Master Rawl and his people entered a covenant in which he protected them with magic, and they protected him with steel. This formed a bond between the Lord Rawl and his people, and through this bond, they can recognize the Lord Rawl from birth and feel him when he's close. So essentially, they have a GPS dog collar on Richard, much like the sisters at the Pop had, and much like Zed had with his cloud. They just know where he is.
Yes. Not all the Harans.
They just know.
But yeah, they can, like...
At least that's how they found him.
Yes, they can feel him. And I think maybe it was like a general area, probably for a while. Like, the Lord Rawl is over there. And then they had to go over there before they could, like, determine how close he was. You know what I mean?
It's like the blind treasure finder on Sea of Thieves. It gives you a direction. And then as you sail past the island, either direction changes or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, it's not that island. You just got to keep going.
Or like,
so you go from location to location, going in the direction it's pointing you to eventually wind up where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Pokemon Go is like that too.
Yes. Just like... War Wizard, go!
Yes.
Fuck him up. Sword of Truth. Other things. Feed him a berry.
Slash.
He likes berries. But before this bond is, like, actually made a thing, there needs to be an acceptance of his rule. Basically, it's not forced. They have to enter into it with the Lord Rawl willingly. I mean, it's... Okay. Willingly, it's whether they like it or not, but, like...
They have
it
to...
also... I was going to say, it also kind of depends on your level of belief. So, if you believe real strong in him, then it's a real strong thing. And if you're like, yeah, I guess, whatever. I'm not a king, so I'm going to let that guy be the king. And then it's more of a general feeling.
I think, it has to do with, like, how much blood they have. But also, like, Daharan blood they have. But also, it just has to do with whether or not they acknowledge the fact that he is the rightful ruler of the land. Like, this is the Lord Rawl. I know this. I know he is the Lord Rawl, and he is in charge, so the bond works. Like, that invokes the bond, I think. Whether or not you like him or not, like in Darkenrawl's case, he was a piece of shit, but everyone knew, like, his dad was Panis. He's the fucking boss now. That's just the way it is.
It's kind of like just accepting that the new president is the new president.
Yeah.
Love him or hate him, that's the guy. It's whatever.
Yeah, his protection
and that's all
extended
it would take.
to them once they accepted that he was. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. So usually this bond, right? It passes to the Lord Rawl's heir with no problem, but this time it didn't. You see. Darkenrawl, he hung around after he died. He came back through the gateway, right? So some of the Daharans, they held on to the loyalty to Darkenrawl.
Okay, and this makes sense, because he was still there, so, you know, and kind of commanding an army, sort of, because his rebel leaders were, like, coming back. But we were talking about this as we listened.
But